DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Dre All Day people who are working on your game all the time? Appreciate you guys' comments and questions on our first video, which talked about how to jump higher and basically open the floor for you guys to start asking your own questions. I don't want to take too long in this video, so I'm going to try and limit myself to about 5 minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and look at your comments now and see if I can get to most of them. I will tell you I won't be able to get to all of them, and so some of these are going to have to come in videos coming up next week. So first we got Girls Love Skittles says, does it mess up your knees? Now any program that doesn't adapt for recovery and allow your body to recover is potentially going to have injuries. And really that is your worst enemy. Injuries are your worst enemy here if you are training properly. So patellar tendonitis, which happens below your kneecap and is kind of a sensitive doling pain below your kneecap to start with and can really grow into something debilitating, usually happens because you're too high repetition. You're doing things with too much repetition, and or you're not recovering well enough, and or you're not getting good enough nutrition, or you're just putting too much intensity that you're not ready for. So with the programs that we create, we make sure that we don't dive into something you're not ready for, and you move up progressively. You don't do things that your body's not ready for because that's going to injure you instead of help you to build from micro damage and recover. It's just going to straight up damage you. So our program comes with a very comprehensive knee protection, knee insurance program that we take very seriously, because even if you're training properly, there are risks with your knees. So we want to minimize that and make your knees as bulletproof as possible. So that's a very good question. Next, how important is flexibility when jumping? I heard a lot of trainers say I need to be as flexible as possible. I don't understand why. Well, long story short, we could do a whole video on flexibility, but flexibility, you need to have range of motion through the specific movement. For example, if I'm going to punch you and I can't draw back, but if I can only draw back this far, I'm not going to get a full range of motion, so I'm not going to reach my highest velocity possible. So flexibility is important in that aspect, in that you need to have full range of motion. Second of all, being flexible helps you prevent injuries, because if you can only draw back this far, if you're playing a game and for some reason you have to draw back this far, your body's never done that. Your tissue's not ready for it. You're likely to strain or tear your muscle because you're not used to that range of motion. So being capable of that range of motion in a controlled manner is going to help you to prevent injury during a game or during performance. Thirdly, there are some thoughts in the arena that say when you can stretch your muscle to this extent, there's less inhibition. So if you don't know how to, if your muscle is not used to being stretched and having high amounts of tension, then your body inhibits the amount of tension that can be on your muscle, which also inhibits how explosively you can contract your muscles. So there are some who would say that simply being able to stretch your muscles and have a high range of flexibility makes you capable of better and stronger contractions. So any way you put it, flexibility is good. It's good for injury prevention. It's good for performance. It's good for range of motion. It's good for everything. So will flexibility get you jumping out of the gym? Probably not. It'll probably just get you using what you have better. So it gets to our next question. Somebody says, Kurd2650 from Turkey, not sure. Kurd2650, is the squat a good strength component? The squat is an excellent strength component. However, it shouldn't be the only thing you're focused on. A proper squat. I say proper squat because when you say squat, what is that? We got your Olympic squat, you got your full squat, you got your powerlifting squat, you got your front squat, you got your back squat, you got your high squat, high bar, you got your low bar, you got all sorts of squats. So yes, a squat is very important. It puts a lot of good stress on your quads, puts a lot of good stress on your glutes, your hams, on your core, on your lower back. These are all, as we talked about in our previous video, what I call the prime movers of jumping. So increasing your strength is very important. However, concurrently increasing your explosive ability and your technique along with your strength are also important. Some people only focus on their strength, find that they get stronger, but they're not jumping any higher, because jumping higher is more than just being strong. It's being strong and being quick together. that creates that explosiveness. So being strong alone just gives you the potential to be more explosive. You got to be strong and you got to be quick. The way we train, we never train strength without also training that vertical jump, quickness, and explosiveness. So you're teaching your body to use strength for a very specific purpose. So yes, squats are good for your strength component, but you should always be training with your strength components, things like technique, quickness, plyometric ability, all that kind of stuff. So how many inches I'm left? I can already dunk a tennis ball, says Mr. Cow 018, K-A-O. So if you can already dunk a tennis ball, you're probably getting about right here. And to dunk a basketball, if you can palm the basketball, you need to get right here, basically, if you can palm the basketball. So do the math, probably a few inches and you're there. If you can't palm a basketball, there are tricks and techniques. If those of you are interested, would want to learn how to palm a basketball, I've done a series and a little handout on how to palm a basketball. There's some little training tips. For example, it's more the tips of your fingers and not your whole hand that is going to be involved in palming the basketball. There's a certain way you can hold the basketball to palm it a little bit better, holding it, your fingertips along the seams. Anyways, there's some exercise and some techniques you can do, especially making sure that your hand is very dry and that you've kind of gotten the texture of the ball. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. We can do that on another video. Dirty Beats says no audio. Yeah, everyone else is hearing it, so it might be a problem. You can't even hear me, so Dirty Beats, we got audio going. Just turn up the volume. Is there any chance your program will have a discount? From time to time we do run discounts, whether it's my birthday, whether we're feeling good, whether it's just for giggles. We do have discounts. I can't tell you when that would be. What is the proper technique for jumping? Is there more than one, and how much does it differ from person to person? Thanks. That is what is said from New Willness. I'm kind of going over my time, but let me hit this question real quick. We'll probably release a video on jumping technique for this channel next week if Dre thinks that's a good idea. We have already got some videos prepared for that. It's kind of a complicated subject, meaning some of the stuff isn't necessarily intuitive. You know, when you're running up, if you're going to jump off one leg, your second to last step is going to be a little longer, and you need to make sure you're accelerating into it. Anyway, the track and field industry knows how you need to use technique to jump higher. If you're a long jumper, you're a triple jumper, if you're a high jumper, they're teaching you tricks to jump higher that are just based on technique. And so in track and field, this is very well known. It just hasn't really carried over into the basketball or other sports arenas. Some athletes do it naturally, and we've even in some of these videos, the one that I'm going to show you next week, I think, I break down athletes like LeBron James and Michael Jordan, showing how they're already using these techniques. But then yourself, once you know what those techniques are, you can be more conscious of it when you're practicing and actually get something out of it. So anyways, there's probably about 75 comments here. I'm going to see if I can get to more of these in other videos. But you guys can keep posting your comments, or whether you have questions on what we've talked about here, keep them going, because I think we can continue to get a lot done. And if you want to add to what I'm saying here, or you disagree with me, or you have something additional to say, please put it down low and we'll talk it over. So guys, my name is Jacob Hiller. I am with jumpmanual.com and I'm here with DreAllDay.com. And I will tell you right now, as Dre says, work on your game.
And as he comes back to your right, you just reach the ball right over his head and finish the shot.